Mr. Chan Lo.
Hi, how you doing? I love how you say my name. That's how my
really? Do I say it properly or not properly?
completely wrong. No, I'm just kidding. No. I'm just,
You gotta help me out. I gotta know how to say it.
I don't think you can mess that name up. Chan Lo. You said it completely right.
Oh, okay, good.
Jackie Chan and Lo. That's it.
Jackie Chan, Chan Lo,
Yep.
Jackie Chan Lo.
No, it's just one of my my old partners used to call me, like, say it just the same way you say it, like Chan
Did he
Lo.
really?
How's everything?
Everything's good. I was on the phone with my mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I know the time. Actually, I wanted to get into that. The time, like, just questions that aren't related to AITX after the fact, just to see how it is to be a CEO of
whatever you like, man. Whatever you like. I love our interviews. I love our discussions. I definitely want to lead with the RS.
Mm-hmm.
The RS, right? I can't say the two words.
Yeah, I'm sure you get that. I saw the Vimeo video, and I'm sure it. But then again, I assure you that this is not the last time you're going to speak on it. I assure you that, because it's going to happen.
I guarantee it, we won't. But I'm trying to inspire the Rad Army to respond to the reverse split questions instead of me, because I can't do it anymore. You know, I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Are we on? Are we live? Are we going?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's go through this RS thing, okay? I'm gonna share some math as to why the RS doesn't have to be a discussion and isn't a discussion for a long time.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the conditions under which it would. So listen, I just pulled up otcmarkets.com, which is where you should go to find the accurate OS and AS for any OTC ticker. Do not trust the brokerage accounts for any of that. Now, some people get surprised because they're like, oh, it was 2.5 and now it's 3.1 or 3.4 or 3.5. Got to come to otcmarkets.com, AITX. It's where they have the real data. So we're sitting at 3.545, and we've actually been sitting there for some time. I want to mention, I don't have a record of it, but I want to mention that the outstanding share count went up over the past few months, 200-300 million shares. We all knew this was coming, that we'd be around 3.5 after December 15th. Now we're sitting around 3.5. 5 million sitting in restricted. There'll probably be a few more million going into restricted. Fine. So let's just round it to 3.5 billion shares right now. And we have 5 billion authorized, which technically means that there's 1.5 billion that could be issued. Now, in the old days, when we had this nasty, toxic, dilutive debt, those lenders were basically able to print shares on our behalf until they got their money back. They didn't care. That's why it was called toxic lending. It's very, very bad. SEC, thank goodness, put an end to it. And that doesn't happen anymore. It puts me in a much better, comfortable position. Puts everybody, especially the OTC investors, literally everybody. The only people who it pinches a little bit are those same toxic lenders that now have had to clean up their act and be more selective with the companies they invest in, do fixed price investments, which are much better than the variable investments that would lead the stock to crash. So we're in much better situation. I can't stress that enough. You'll see some stuff on the K, which will substantiate it versus Q3. It's a new world, So let's just say, look at this scenario. We got 1.5 billion available shares. Now, from that, you know, if we're trading, say, 20 cents, for example, or 25 cents, for example, I don't have my calculator handy. I don't want to load it up to do the math on it. But you can just see that 100 million shares at a 25-cent stock price raises us $25 million. Now, I'll tell you that with $25 million, by the way, which is the entire sum of money, plus or minus, that I've raised for AITX, right? And we've done incredible things with little bits of money. We've got millions of dollars in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
But with those numbers, with another $25 million, I've got more plans to execute, more growth, more fuel to throw on this fire that we've got burning right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I would still have 1.4 billion shares left if I needed or wanted them. It's literally years of potential runway. Now, anything could happen. That's why I can never promise no RS, because I can't control the future and there's weird stuff that can happen. But from a standpoint of raising money using the shares, with the market cap the way it is, I can raise tens of millions of dollars, which I don't need. 20 to 25 is good. Mm-hmm. Minimally dilutive, which is what I promised in the December 15th press release, and nowhere close to needing a reverse split. So that's the real math. That's why reverse split is not in my mind whatsoever, unless I'm answering the question 100 times a day, which I will not do anymore. So let's dig into that a little bit. Tell me if I described it. Tell me if it was clear. What else can I elaborate on? Not necessarily for you, but for some of the other viewers that might want to go through it.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt. And again, you see, people have to take things with, just like how you said that you can't just say no. In my videos, I never say Steve is going to have have a reverse split. It's just something that's always going through my mind as an investor, as a potential. Do I see it happen?
As it should.
Exactly. So, when I say it, and I also clarified in the video in the comment section that, I don't think Steve is going to do it. But is it possible? It is possible. But, investors should never just. The funny thing is, the investors that ask about it, they seem very confident, and that you won't do it. So why listen to me? You get what I'm saying? Like, is it a potential? Yes. But you obviously, whoever comments on my videos, obviously have done enough research. So should not listen to just what anybody says. If you're confident in Steve, I am confident in Steve, then it is what it is. And no specific word from anybody should influence someone's investment decision if there was enough research done.
Agreed. And I think that what I shared on this call with the math and the reasoning and all that stuff behind that CEOs generally never talk about.
Yeah.
I haven't seen or heard of one, not that I follow many, but just by judging the level of education in some of the OTC corners, nobody ever talks about this. But that is the real true math that I wish people would ask other CEOs about when they make their investment decisions.
Well, no CEO is as open as you to talk. And that's why I think a lot of the Rat Army is so happy, because you're so open and you're open to answer questions. You spend time to just make sure that people are getting the correct information. So I hope you pin it, or, because you pin it on the Twitter or something.
I should do something with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because then they will know. And again, I don't think you're going to do a reverse split. Is it a potential? I still stand by it is, but I don't think it's going to happen,
Listen,
and I'm very confident.
I've got to sort through, and I do this when we're doing engineering, building a new product or software or existing stuff. We separate the possible from the probable. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. I'm like, because, the engineers will come up with 100 different things, well, what if, we have a sunspot on the sun explodes and blah, 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 right? Like stuff like that. And I'm like, let's separate the possible from the probable, because the possible, we're going to go down rabbit holes all day long, forever and ever and ever. It will never stop, because so much is possible. Let's focus on the probable. So what's the probable, right? The probable is the math doesn't really seem to warrant this whatsoever for a long time, if ever. So, okay, fine. So it's not probable. Sure, it's possible. So I can make my decision on that. And we do that intrinsically as humans all the time. That's part of when we're building artificial intelligence is sorting out the possible from the probable so that the devices can make decisions. You know, hey, I can't quite make out what this particular object is. How am I going to classify it?
Yeah,
you know,
no doubt.
Stuff like that, right? It's the
same.
Quantum. I'd love to get into quantum computing. I would love to.
Mm-hmm. There was actually one that I was eyeballing, quantum computing, QUBT. Got in pretty early, but I sold it because I'm dumb.
QUBT sitting at $6.50. What was your exit?
No, my entry was like 2 something, but I always tend to say that something is an investment, but I'm working on it. And then I end up selling with a good amount, you know, like you sometimes the returns you just can't seem to, like, you know, you have to just take it. But I regret it, but it is what it is.
I tell, you know, both my sons do a little bit of trading, and I tell them, I say, you know, you can't ever be upset when you've banked some profits.
That is true.
So I'm looking at QUBT right now. So what I look at is I look at the share count, of course, on otcmarkets.com.
Yeah, I'm also going to make sure that I record the page so they know where to find the information itself as well. So that it, you know, helps them out a little.
That's what I'm telling you. If you're trading OTC, you should be checking OTC markets for these details.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so we hit reverse split. I think that we kind of killed that with math and facts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk NASDAQ, because NASDAQ is the other thing that people ask me about, or people seem to think that there is some like light at the end of the tunnel with NASDAQ, and maybe there is. Okay, maybe there is. But I think that there's more light at the end of the tunnel, more light in the tunnel for OTC investors where we're at right now and doing what we're at right now. I think NASDAQ is kind of a light at the end of the tunnel moment for me, for sure, from a personal standpoint, but I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush to get there. I want to kind of reconfirm what I said in my earlier morning little video where I said that it looks like I'm pretty committed to get on the QB next fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
So, which means I'll probably apply Q4 our fiscal year, this fiscal year, which is maybe I'll apply in 8-9 months or so, or 7-8 months, and then hopefully be on in March 2022. I think that's exciting because I think that, or I know that it opens up a variety of other buyers that can buy from us, a couple other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Retirement savings money can be assigned to it more easily now. So, but that's something to look for, and hopefully that gives us a boost in 8, 9, 10 months, whenever that happens. So I want to confirm that. But NASDAQ itself, listen, I'm asked the question all the time, and all the time my answer is, I don't know. I don't have any plans for it right now. Could that change? Of course, right? Can we get to a few bucks a share? Absolutely, we can. Of course we can. So we'll just have to see. But right now, the plan is focused on a fantastic year this year, which is turning out to be. At the end of this year, I'm going to have a recap of all the changes and growth that we had from the beginning of the fiscal year to the end of the fiscal year, and it is already shaping up to be pretty epic.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so that's good. And then we'll be on the QB, and hopefully just rocking and rolling. Some new products, some new services, lots of new customers, lots of new deployments, more dev. I like where we're going. I hope the share price keeps going up and we can get to the 50 cents. And that's the plan. But NASDAQ, I hope people stop asking me about it. I promise everybody I will share it when it becomes something on my mind.
Actually, we have I stalked your Twitter completely today, just trying to find questions that people want answered. So I have a bunch that I screenshotted, so we're gonna answer it. One of it is the OTC QB. Can you go in to talk about how that would benefit AITX once it gets listed into the OTC QB?
Yeah, I touched on it a moment ago, but more specifically, a couple brokerage houses will treat us better in terms of allowing it to be traded without having to call them or go through OTC stuff, whatever, right? So that's immediately going to improve the reach of the number of buyers that we can hit. Mm-hmm. And the second big item is people should be able to use some different retirement savings funds that they have to invest in OTCQB stocks, which again furthers our reach. And the last piece is, and I don't know the exact details of this, but there should be some more classic institutional buyers and traders, trading companies that will take a position in QB companies versus whereas they wouldn't in the pinks. So the summary of moving to the QB for us, mm-hmm. specific for AITX, would hopefully be to increase demand for the stock, hopefully resulting in, of course, an increased stock price. So that would be the effect that I'd be looking for. I'd be looking to really focus on functional performance for the company this year in the pinks and come into the QB, serious across all elements of the business beyond any doubts, continuously growing revenues, proper handling of debt, so on and so forth, proper handling of the stock structure, just demonstrate all these things that we need to do to keep moving up. And they'll be on the QB. Hopefully that gives us a boost. And then from there, we would reevaluate, look at timing and structure and the things we wanted to do before evaluating NASDAQ or NYSE.
Yeah, about the NASDAQ thing, I know you answer it all the time. And, people take it as such a huge, there's money that goes into listing it up onto the NASDAQ and stuff like that. And I know you're like very focused on growth. So that's the least of your concerns. You're really just trying to, grow the company rather than just growing the exchange where it's going to be traded. Obviously, there's benefits to it. But I think people take it, uplisting to NASDAQ to more than what it is because the main focus is the company, right? So
absolutely. And it has to be that way. Mm-hmm. A premature uplist to the NASDAQ risks us getting booted off, number one. But a proper uplist to the NASDAQ requires not just money that you said is probably $250,000, mm-hmm. which is a real number, of course, but it requires a lot of my time because to do it properly, I basically have to go on a road show, raise interest, talk to the brokers, do presentation after presentation after presentation, do one of those things in order, hopefully, that once the IPO or the uplist hits, we've got a whole bunch of institutional investors coming in saying, hey, I got to add this into my AI portfolio. I got to add this into my emerging tech portfolio. Whatever portfolios that they have, I want us to, be able to be a part of those across mm-hmm. all these different brokerage houses. That takes my time in addition to money, but primarily my time. And right now I don't have that time to do that. I've got a lot of building and growth to do with an AITX first.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think people just focus on a company rather than NASDAQ. But so we have a question here from stalking your Twitter. Jenny Claire Kentucky says, and you replied to it. I think once if banks catch on to how this technology can be great for their banks, but mainly ATM sales could take off because banks have multiple branches and ATM locations. I wanted to get into that because I see a lot of human security guards during nighttime in these specific ATM booths. And I think AITX definitely has a potential there instead of having a human person there at all times. So you said we're talking to a few. Is there any details that you could give us? Hey guys, so just to go right into it, during the interview, I said I was going to show you guys where to find this information. I'm going to put this right after I said it so that you guys will be able to see it. But OTC Markets is the website that Steve says, so go check it out. And where to trust your information is a legitimate website. As you can see, verified profile, transfer agent verified. And there's the OTC Markets website. So to see the outstanding shares, you'll come to this website, type in AITX in the quote section, go to company profile, and it will show you the description of AITX and also the security details. So you got market cap, shares outstanding. If you want to see the restricted and unrestricted shares, etc., just click more. You'll be directed here for the share structure, and you'll see everything. outstanding shares, restricted, unrestricted, and all of that information. So yeah, let's go back to the video.
I think the details are as stated. You know, we're talking to a few, and beyond that, this is an area where I don't get too explicit until things happen.
Gotcha.
Because it creates expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got to toe the line and say we're talking to a few. Stay tuned.
Okay.